Hi, my name is Anthony Descala, cooking enthusiast, and today I'm going to make a focaccia bread. Now, the first thing we're going to do in making this focaccia is we're going to mix our dough. I've measured out enough ingredients for 2 half sheet pans of focaccia. So that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to stick our water in the mixture. Now this water's been measured out, and when you measure things for bread, you measure it out in weight. So I measured out the weight of the water. You don't go by cups or whatever. We went by grams. So I figured out that there's 862 grams of water that's supposed to be in this mix. And now we're going to mix it on low speed with a dough hook. You see I have my dough hook attachment for about 1.5 minutes. And while we're mixing, I just want to touch on the desired dough temperature. Every dough has a desired dough temperature, but most doughs, the desired dough temperature is around 75 to 77 degrees. And after 1.5 minutes, at this particular point, we're going to stop the mixer a little bit, and we're going to do what's known as an auto-lease. And an auto-lease is basically a resting period, during which time, it's about 15 minutes, and during this time, the dough develops some additional flavor. So now we're going to stop the mixer and let it rest. Our auto-lease is done, and so now we're going to add the salt and the yeast. And we're going to let it mix for another 1.5 minutes more on first speed. Now we have sufficient dough development, and we're going to add our oil. My assistant will now bring the oil. So we're going to add our oil. Okay, now what we're going to do, our dough is ready to be divided. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add oil to both two sides of a sheet of parchment paper. My assistant will now bring up the oil, some more oil. Okay, so I'm just going to add it to the parchment paper on both sides. I'm going to do that to 2 sheets. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a bench scraper, and we're going to weigh out 1,200 grams. Show me cutting the dough. Amounts. Now you'll see the dough, it doesn't have the greatest structure at this particular point, but it's got to develop. And it'll ferment for about 3 hours after we are done dividing it. We're going to let it ferment. And you're going to see it change, not necessarily before your eyes, but during the 3-hour period. And we're going to just divide it into a circle, into a rounded shape. And we're going to place it on the sheet pan. Now I'm going to cover the dough with some plastic wrap. And we're going to let it ferment for about 3 hours. Okay, so now our dough has been fermenting for about 3 hours, and as you can see, I don't know if you got a good look at it at the beginning, but the structure has definitely changed and definitely gotten much nicer. So what we're going to do is we're going to spread out. Have you ever wondered how focaccia gets those cute little dents in it? It's from the baker spreading it with their fingers. So we're going to just spread it to fit the pan. My assistant will do that one, and I'll do this one. And we're just going to slowly spread it out to fit into the pan. Now that our dough is spread out evenly on the pan, and we got our little dents in it, we're going to put a couple of toppings on it. And I like to put like a little rosemary, because rosemary focaccia is very pretty. And it also gives a delicious aroma as it bakes. So we're going to spread out some rosemary on this. After we add the rosemary, we're going to add a little salt. And to one of them, we're going to add a little red pepper. I don't know, for those of you who like spicy, like the focaccia, a little spicy. We're going to do that. And as you can see, we have our... Now we're going to put a little salt. Not too much, because we do have salt in the dough. But we want to taste some delicious flavor in this. Okay? And now, thank you, assistant. I'm going to add a little red pepper to just to one of them, so that we have a little bit of a mixture. And, assistant, may I have the oil? So now, in these little dents, we're going to probably try to fill some of them with a little oil. So we're going to put a little extra virgin olive oil over them. And we're going to take them and place them into a 450 degree oven for 25 minutes. Okay, so now our bread's been in for 25 minutes, and we're going to take it out, and we're going to take a look at it. And here is our focaccia bread. I'm going to put it down over here. And that's what it looks like. Now, you can use this if you wanted to throw something on top, like tomatoes and mozzarella, and melt it. It would make a nice Sicilian pizza. Or you can put anything on top. You can put Parmesan cheese. I chose to put rosemary, salt, and pepper. But you can put, use your imagination and put just about whatever you want on it. This is going to taste delicious. Now, bread really gains most of its flavor when it cools. So what we're going to do is we're going to just let these breads cool on the cooling racks for an hour or two, and then they'll be ready to eat. We'll just slice them up and eat them. Okay, so thank you very much again for your time.